We are back for Roundtable Ravens episode number 14. I am once again joined by my co-host Billie Melissa as we are going to kind of talk all about pre-free agency craziness Ravens football. There is
hmm
so much going on, so much that hasn't happened quite yet with the Ravens, and we're going to get right into that right now. Starting with Tyler Linderbaum. We've been talking about him for weeks at this point. We're going to continue talking about him until something happens. Um, it's not looking good right now. I know these are just reports, this is just conjecture. I know you have a different opinion about it, but currently, all of the signs are pointing to Tyler Linderbaum going elsewhere in free agency. The reason for this is that his contract demands are now reaching a point of like I've read around 25 million per season. That I don't think is accurate, but I think he's definitely going to get well over 20 million, 20 to 25 ish range, somewhere 22 million maybe. I think that's kind of where it's headed. That does not necessarily mean that Eric DeCosta and the Ravens are going to be foolish enough not to pay him the money he deserves to get paid, but it's also getting a little worrisome because there's less than a week before tampering can begin, and no deal has been done yet.
See, I think had I not been through the great stress of potentially all the business where everyone's like, Lamar's going to Miami, he's going to, we've seen this. We've seen this before.
Yeah.
And I think there's a way to where I feel like it might be like agent greed. Like agents want a little extra slice of
Oh yeah.
that money and they're probably just pushing and trying to see how far they can get with getting away with things. I just don't see a reality where Tyler Linderbaum is on any other team next year, personally.
I honestly I do agree with that. I know I have my reservations about it simply because, like I said, if he does reach I always do not discount any other team overpaying for people, and I know there's a team that's probably going to try to overpay for
Yeah,
Tyler Linderbaum. That is not a hit against Tyler Linderbaum. He deserves to get paid as the highest paid center.
100%.
He is that level of player. He's that level of offensive lineman. He anchors the offensive line on the Ravens, but I just don't see him resetting the market that much. Now, the issue, I think, of currently what's happening right now, I think when DaCosta said, foolishly also said that we gave him a market setting contract, I think that could have been 18 or 18.5 million per season, which is just edges out Kansas City Chiefs center Creed Humphrey. And don't treat it like that if that's the case. Like, come on, like you gotta, but we know how negotiations work. Look at what happened with like the 49ers and, Brock Purdy and Debo Samuel and all their
hmm
players. They come down to the wire and they always get a deal done. I don't think that the Ravens will let Tyler Linderbaum walk. I don't think that. I'm just saying it's a little troublesome because it hasn't happened yet. But it does. There's still less. They're still up until the 8th. You can do
hmm
March 8th at 12 or 11:59 p.m. You can get that deal done, and then you're good. So they have plenty of time. It's just concerning because that number keeps going up. Now,
hmm
there's also a take that with a grain of salt because that could just be smokescreen from other agents, from other yada yada. People are driving the price up, driving the price down. We know how this works. So it's still troublesome, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean it's annoying to always come down to the wire. There's like so much that then goes on behind the scenes of like it's not just him. There are so many other free agents this season. There's Lamar who needs a restructure. There's so many or a refresh of his contract. There's so much to go on that I just think it's not as simple as doing that. And it's probably just a whole thing of like having to figure out so many different contracts that it will all come together in the end. But right now, we haven't got that deal. And obviously that is concerning because should he hit the open market, like people are going to be all over that.
Oh yeah,
People are
yeah.
going to immediately want to snap him up. Like teams are desperate for him. We're the kind of team that we're just not really spenders. Like we're very conservative about our funds. Like we don't really go crazy. And I think, like we said, there are many teams who are willing to do that. So it does just depend. Sometimes players do just want that money. I personally don't see Tyler Linderbaum being that kind of player. I think he's chasing greatness and he knows that that comes in the form of protecting Lamar. It's a lot more fun to protect Lamar than some other quarterbacks. So yeah, for me, I'm not hesitant about it yet. Come the March 9th or whenever, then I'll start having a little panic about it. But right now, I'm hoping Eric DeCosta's got things figured out.
Yeah, but I mean, in the off chance that he does walk, well, first of all, one of the biggest things that happened since last week, since we last spoke on the pod, is Chicago Bears center Drew Dahlman shockingly retired. He retired after 7 seasons. He was just a Pro Bowl center. We know how good the Bears were in
Hmm.
2025. He called it a career. That puts a constraint now on the Ravens to give someone like Tyler Linderbaum a deal because then the Bears, who snatched up Joe Thuney from the Chiefs, can come and do the same thing and offer a huge contract. But they're not also in the best cap space place right now
Yeah, do
either.
they have that money?
Right. But so another name that's popped up now is Buffalo Bill center Connor McGovern, who stated that he does not believe that he's going to be getting a deal with the Bills because he has not been contacted. And obviously, as we just said, it's March 5th, March 9th, tampering begins. It's coming down to the wire, and teams need to start contacting these free agents to let them know if they're going to get a deal or not, or they're going to have to test free agency. I think Connor McGovern would be a good option for the Ravens. He's not as highly rated like on PFF, but he's still up there. He's missed 2 games in the last 3 seasons. He's got a sixth ranked pass blocking grade of 73.4. He has an overall grade of 69.1. He's ranked 15th out of 40 centers. Obviously, it's not the
It's
greatest,
not
but
Tyler Linderbaum.
it's not Tyler Linderbaum by any means, but he does have a real, better pass block coverage grade. But the point being, he's a really good veteran that if he does not get a deal and say Tyler Linderbaum does walk, I think that's an
Yeah.
option for the Ravens to definitely check out.
Yeah, and he's been defending a similar quarterback. I say that with a big like asterisk next to it, because one is greater than the other. But stars of play, running quarterback, guy who can make things happen on the fly. You want someone who's kind of ready to adjust for those kind of things. So I think looking at teams where they kind of have that similar setup is probably the best place to go. Do I prefer a 28-year-old center over a 25-year-old center? Absolutely not. But like if Tyler Linderbaum really does walk in the world where he does disappear and he goes off to another team, definitely for sure, this is the place to look.
He's 27, first of all. But anyway, no, yeah, you're right.
Are you sure about that?
I think he's 27. I think he's gonna be 28. I could be wrong. Let
No,
me
he's 20,
let
he's
me fact check
28.
myself. Is he 28
November
already?
3rd, 1997.
Damn it, he's 28. Okay, anyway,
He's
well,
28. I do my fact checking here.
he's more seasoned is what I'll say. But no, I mean he's a good
For sure.
option, and there's other options out there. I know they're nowhere near the level that Tyler Linderbaum is, so it's going to be a huge loss if that happens if he walks to another team. But we'll see what happens. There's so much more free agency news and stuff to happen between now and March 9th and also March 11th. Just because tampering begins doesn't mean that Linderbaum can't get a deal on the 11th, but that's when the league year opens. So the idea would be that the Ravens would need to get a deal done before that happens. Otherwise, other teams are going to be jumping in and trying to get him. So,
As we've seen on other podcasts, could very well happen at the end of this podcast recording.
yeah, I know we
We might
could.
need to jump back on right immediately and
Yeah,
discredit
we could.
everything we said.
We could get off, and then you'd be like, "Oh, he's got a new deal." So I don't
Things are
know.
moving quick, so I wouldn't put it past any. I think it's going to come in a package of also finding out about Lamar. So
Yeah,
I think that those two things are very much entwined, and those are two big, hefty things that you've got to figure out. So I'll let EDC have a couple more days.
before you hit the panic switch. Yep.
Yep.
Speaking of free agents, speaking of somebody that just became available as well, which was also very shocking, is former or gonna be former New England Patriots wide receiver Stefon Diggs. Diggs was released by the Patriots, or it was informed that he would be released on the start of the league year. He is a longtime veteran, a huge pass catcher. He just rebounded after tearing his ACL in 2024. He came back in 2025. Excuse me, I think he was 2023. He tore his ACL, recovered in 2024. 2025, his first full season. I could be wrong. I think I remember that correctly. The point being, he just got 1,013 yards, receiving yards, and 4 touchdowns. Proved it once again that he can still be the guy. Was catching passes from Drake May, who Drake May has a similar skill set like Lamar. They can throw the ball downfield. Does this make sense for the Ravens?
I mean, it's within our history of signing those veteran guys for a year, bringing them in. But then I hope that, and we should do with an entirely new coaching staff, that we actually use him because we've seen time and time again these guys come in. They do really well when they come in for like the
Mhm.
1, 2 plays they come in for a game, and then they just sit on the sideline. So if we're going to utilize him and he doesn't cost that much, and he wants, to come get a ring in Baltimore, 100% he makes sense. Had a great season last season, considering he's 32.
Yep.
Fact checked. He's also from Maryland. So, why not have that little homecoming for his. Well, I guess he's that if he is 32, he's probably got a few more years left in him before he hangs up his cleats. But yeah, why not? I don't see why it doesn't make sense.
He tore his ACL in 2024,
When he was with
mid
the
season,
Texans.
week 8. Yeah, for the Texans. But yeah,
And he was good then too, having a great season up
he was
until
having a
then.
great season until he tore his ACL. Yeah, he was already at 496 yards and 3 touchdowns before he went down in week 8. So he probably would have gone over 1,000 yards in that season, and it would have made his 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 consecutive 1,000 yard season. Um, Stefon Diggs makes sense to me. I mean, he is 32 years old, but he has proven that he can still be elite. He can still be that guy. I think the Ravens, obviously with D Hop not working out, I don't know what happened there. Maybe it'll
He
be
was
different.
so good. I don't know what happened because he really does have that. When he did come in, he did great and he really picked up on it and he did some amazing, like one-handed catches. I would have liked to have seen him utilized more. If he's not coming back next season, then, absolutely we can look in the direction of Diggs.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I think you have to look at it. I think you take a long look at that and go, okay, well, look, like, and this does not mean that the Ravens should not be drafting somebody in with their first round pick either. I mean, I see it as if you can get a Stefon Diggs, you go get a Stefon Diggs, and then you go get Mekhi Lemon at number
Mm,
13 overall, and you just rebuilt your wide receiver room for the 2026 season. Granted, you may be renting Stefon Diggs on a 1 year deal, but he's still going to be really good in that 1 year. He's going to get
yeah.
you at least 750 receiving yards no matter what. You know what I mean? Obviously, barring an injury of any kind. But I think he's the kind of guy that you go and take a look at, and you can still go get that younger guy. But basically, the only drawback to this is that Stefon Diggs is still not a big body. That's the missing component, in my opinion, for the offense and
Yeah,
for
there's
Lamar
that whole
Jackson.
thing, isn't it? Stop bringing small guys to
Yeah,
Baltimore.
he's smaller, but he's a speedster, and his route
Yeah.
running is impeccable. Which obviously that's what Zay Flowers is too.
Yeah.
Like he's just you get those two guys lined up, it'll be like Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. They're really fast. They can stretch the field, but then you go get why I say Mekhi Lemon because he is that bigger body receiver that you throw the ball up to. Your Lamar Jackson. You just heave it up there. Someone's gonna come down with it. Well, the that's the drawback of stuff on Diggs, but then the bonus of it is he's a contested ball catcher himself. Like that
hmm
dude always catches the ball. So,
hmm
I mean, yeah, I think you take a look.
Yeah, and then two great guys for Lemon to learn underneath if Diggs can't outlast the season and he does decide to retire or we don't re-sign him or whatever. Why not? Yeah, but yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? Of the whole like we've got small receivers who are tricky. They can kind
Hmm.
of Zay's obviously very good at dodging and yeah, I
Yeah,
like it. I like
yeah,
it. Can we afford it? And if Eric DeCosta is going to stand by his word of getting the big ticket items, then I like the look of that, to be honest. As long as
yeah,
there's enough room in the budget for Max Crosby,
yeah. Well, I mean, we'll see. I think
can we
that.
afford both? I don't know.
No, I don't think so. I think that's going to be a tough one. Just in general. Um,
Yeah.
but staying along the same lines of the wide receiver area. This comes from ESPN's Dan Graziano. They were talking about some free agent moves for the Ravens, and he brought up a receiver who, similarly to D Hop, has not really quite made an impact on the team, and that's Rashod Bateman. Um, he's not been great in general. I think he got a kind of weird contract when he got it. So, we'll see. But according to Graziano, he says Rashad Bateman is coming off a down year, but is guaranteed 6.5 million this year, and the Ravens seem inclined to give him another shot in the new offense they're installing under new coordinator Declan Doyle.
I think he's Eric DeCosta's hill he's willing to die on. Like Eric DeCosta has been his like number one fan since day one, has been like his cheerleader year after year. He's like, this is going to be his year. This is going to be Bates' year. This is going to be the year. And honestly, I I understand because I think there are moments in a game where like he just comes out of nowhere and
Yeah.
he completely saves us, like usually on a third down, and sometimes he does just because he's the guy that you're not looking for, he's the guy you're not expecting,
Yeah.
and he just comes out and he gets it done. So I completely see it, and like, you don't really want to. You're always trying to keep the team as harmonized as possible. The guys who've been around, you want to keep that locker room relationship. I have a big thing, because there's just always those moments where he just comes out and he really does make an impact. But in terms of like what we've got around him, he's not like the leading guy on the team. And I think also he's probably had enough. I think he's had enough of us because I think he's not feeling like he's getting the most potential out of himself. I think he sees bigger things for himself. I don't think Baltimore's been the place that's maybe supported that. Whether that's a him problem, whether it's a coaching problem, maybe they're trying to see if this new staff is going to utilize him more and get the best out of him.
Hmm.
I feel protective over him, but I can understand why people have probably had enough at this point. And also I think he's made some comments about how he feels about the team. So
Yeah, I mean, the production is just not there. I mean, 2024, he did have that breakout year, 750
yeah.
ish yards, nine touchdowns. Fantastic. But it's just been hit and miss. And the Ravens continue to give him these like multi-year extensions. And it's confusing because it's like, what's going on here? Like, it should have been like 1 year, maybe, I don't know. But the fact that he's already owed the 6.5 million, you take a flyer on him. Why not? And brand new coaching staff, brand new offensive staff, especially with Declan Doyle. Declan Doyle had to find a way to utilize Roma Dunze. He had to find a way to utilize Luther Burden, I believe it is. And let me see. I'm messing up the Bears receivers right now. But DJ Moore, Luther Burden, Roma
Yeah.
Dunze, and then Zacchaeus. Like they had a lot of pass catchers as well, and DJ Moore especially. Like they use him in design run type deals, and maybe that can be Rashod Bateman's role. Maybe they just need to figure out a way to utilize him. But I think Declan Doyle, the Bears have the same problem, and I think that's probably why you do give him a shot. You go, okay, like maybe the pass regime was not, maybe Todd Monken was not using him the correct
Hmm.
way. Maybe they need to implement him like Debo Samuel for the 49ers, who I brought up earlier. I don't know why he's on my head, but I keep bringing him up. But, he was used in those kind of design runs. He was used in pass catching, but they kind of melded it together. I don't know, but I think you got to get Bateman the ball more
Yeah.
and see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, it's like what Jesse Minter was saying about like when Owe came over to LA and they just found a way that, a communication with him that meant that he was getting the best out of him. And maybe he does just need an alternative coaching room to see how that. I'm happy with them testing it out as long as it doesn't cost us another
Yeah.
situation again. Like I don't know his size. He's a smaller guy, I think, as well.
Rashod Bateman.
185.
He's 6'1", yeah, 193. So
Yeah.
yeah, he's a smaller receiver.
Yeah. So, I think you need to find a way to utilize him this season, then kind of just give up if it's not clear and let him go be great somewhere else.
Yeah, definitely. I think the Ravens have given him more than enough of a chance to kind of uh break out, and it hasn't really quite happened just yet, but we'll
Yeah,
see.
it's been 5 seasons, so
Yeah, yeah. I mean, speaking of, more free agents, I believe you just brought him up, but one of the players that we talked about that could potentially be coming back is Odafe Oweh. He was not franchise tagged by the Chargers, and he will be heading to free agency. When we spoke about him last time, Minter had praised him in the coordinator press conference, which ended up being the Jesse Minter show anyway, and talked about that right there, how he was able to get 7.5 sacks out of OA, how he's able to simplify a defensive strategy for him to blossom. He should be
yeah.
getting a good amount of money. I think something like 9 or 10 million a year, or something like that, along those lines. I think Sport Track predicted, but I think it makes sense. You need a pass rusher, and if you're not going for a big fish in Max Crosby, I think you
Hmm.
absolutely take a swing and bring OA back.
Yeah, just get a guy that can slot right back in where he left off, but in a new regime with a guy that he's familiar with in Minter. he had great seasons here, 10 sacks in 2024, 7.5 sacks in 2025, and then obviously, heading off to LA and having a lot better of a time than he did over here. But I think that he's definitely got so much potential that we've seen over the seasons. And I would love to have him come back and absolutely do his job again. And I don't know if we're still in the belief that Carl Van Noy's not coming back. You know,
I don't know.
if he's not going to be back, then you definitely kind of want a guy who can keep the harmony a little bit and is familiar with the system. So I like him coming back. I like LA not putting the tag on him so that there's room for him to come back.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I don't. So sorry. I'm trying to look up his contract. So actually 3 years, he's calculated to get like a 3 year, 19 million per year deal. So like 57 million. Um, sure. I mean that I don't know though. That's the thing is like where everyone's kind of waiting. Everyone's on Max Crosby watch. And the Ravens have been listed as one of the teams that could go after him. But they've also been listed as a team that's interested in Trey Hendrickson, which why wouldn't they be? Why wouldn't anybody be? So
Hmm.
I think if you're not going for those bigger fish, you definitely can go and get an OA, bring him back to the team that drafted him, bring him back to a familiar area, especially with you got Minter, who he worked with directly on the Chargers, and then you got Anthony Weaver back. I think those two
Yep.
guys alone would be enough for him to be like, oh, I'm going back. I want to go back because then those are two strong defensive minds that can get you that higher level, that can
Yeah.
get you the evolution in your game. So I think so.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, if we can't get those bigger guys that, might make a bigger impact, then why not? It's better to have someone who's familiar and can kind of come back and has already been with that coaching stuff than, some guy who's got to start from the ground up. Still draft a guy though, please.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
still pro pass rusher.
Yeah, I think you got to get young no matter what. Even if you bring in the veteran, even if it's a younger veteran, you still got to go and
Yeah.
you got to draft some pass rushers. I mean, obviously that's the main thing there is that's at least what Eric DeCosta should be focusing in on. Getting those linebackers in, getting those defensive ends in, get somebody. It doesn't
Hmm.
matter who it is, get somebody because regardless of what Anthony Weaver was saying about the pass rushers, it's not true. They're not
Not
there.
true. Unless he knows something we don't know about Madubuike.
But even then, Madubuike is a
He
defensive
needs some
tackle
help.
and still not enough. Yeah,
He needs help. He can't do it all by himself.
no, definitely not. I mean, Travis Jones emerged, it was great. I think he's going to be a star. He's an evolving star, and I think he's going to be great. But you still need more. You still need more.
Yeah.
Speaking of more free agents, that's probably not going to be brought back. Isaiah Likely, he's going to be testing free agency. I don't think, in my opinion, he's coming back.
Who? Likely.
Yeah,
I can see why he wouldn't.
yeah,
He'll get money somewhere else. And that will be it. I kind of got the feeling at the end of the season, especially after us not really like utilizing him as much as
mhm.
we had in previous seasons. But again, tie a new coaching room, new head coach. So there's always an opportunity that they might see a vision for him and might be able to sell him on that. But I think he can get paid more elsewhere, and he's probably going to seek that out.
Yeah, definitely. I don't. I think for what the Ravens are going to value him at, I think other people are going to again. I think this is a situation where other teams are going to overpay, and that's not to say that Isaiah Likely
Yeah.
does not deserve a good contract. I just think because of what he's produced on field and his injury in 2025, the Ravens don't want to overpay because they still got Mark Andrews, and maybe they bring back Charlie Kolar as the replacement. And then, this is not going to be a popular take, but I'll say it anyway. Will Disley was just cut by the Chargers. You got the Jesse Minter connection. Maybe you bring in a veteran, another veteran, a younger possible veteran. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, we've got a history of Chargers coming over to Baltimore and doing better. Alohi Gilman had a better time over with us than they. I remember when he was cut from the Chargers or like got traded to us. Chargers fans were like, "Oh, so happy about that," and I loved him. I thought it was great. So I see it. I have always been a fan of Isaiah Likely, so I would really love to see them figure it out. But I think he absolutely, like you said, someone's going to pay him well. Maybe New York. Maybe he'll go up,
Yeah.
hang out with John up in New York. Chiefs could be in need of a tight end.
He's been
There are
connected to the
lots of teams.
Dolphins, even though the Dolphins don't have anything to spend. But hey, whatever.
Isaiah, don't go down there.
I mean, I don't know. I don't
Don't
know.
go down there,
I don't
especially
know.
not for less money. That's not
Yeah,
worth
I
it.
don't know what's going to happen with that. But is there any other free agents we should be worrying about leaving? I mean, right now, my
I'm
biggest
gonna keep
thing,
talking about Pat Ricard.
yeah, the power. No, I mean,
I don't think he's going anywhere, but I'm still gonna
no.
talk about it.
No, I mean, again, we're coming down to the wire. There's no deal yet. That's a possibility. There's a lot of people talking about our Darius Washington right now. He could be on his
Yeah,
way out. He did come back from that serious injury, but I think he's still a really, really good safety,
I
and I
do
think
too.
that's somebody that you don't want to let walk out of the building. Draymond Jones, in my opinion, I think you still take a look at him if you're
Hmm.
not, if you're still needing a little bit more of that veteran pass rusher. I think if you are gonna let Kyle Van Noy walk, you keep a Draymond Jones.
Yeah. I also think about, I don't know if he's like, there's restrictions around him, but Keaton Mitchell, I think, is free agent or restricted free agent.
He's a restricted free agent.
Yeah. Again, another guy I think that especially because we've also got Justice Hill, and I don't really know what's going on with that situation.
Mhm.
Um, David Ajabo is the name that comes up quite a lot. I think that he's not necessarily had the success because he was injured for like a lot of his first few seasons.
Hmm.
Maybe they see a vision for him in this defense. He's more been on special teams, I think,
Yeah.
when we have used him last season. I think that's mainly it. There's Gilman, obviously, because he
Yeah.
was only there for the year. I like him coming back. I think he filled a hole. There are some names on here that have just made some like Tylen Wallace has that great
Hmm.
memory for the Ravens fans against the Rams one time, just completely ran up the field in like just before overtime, I think. There's a lot that we Tyler Huntley, got to
Yeah.
think about him. We're
Yeah.
bringing him back. I think he's the perfect backup for Lamar. I think that that's a guy you want to keep around. There are a lot of names on here.
Yeah. There is a whole heck of a lot. Jordan Stout, I think you
Yeah, I
have
don't think
to.
he's going anywhere.
Yeah, I think you keep him as well. You keep him in the building. He's a great punter. He got his first
Pro bowler.
Pro Bowl. Got his first Pro Bowl. Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot. There's a lot of work to do. There's a lot going on with the Ravens in the free agency period, and
Awuzie.
Awuzie, yeah, I think you take a look at him as well. I think you still need help in the secondary, but I mean, I
Yeah,
think if you're going to
absolutely.
go for a minimum contract, you definitely look at Awuzie for sure.
Hmm.
Man, there's so many.
There literally are. That's the thing, is there are so many guys on this list that like ideally you would love to just keep around. Um, but do I think that there are alternatives out there that we could go for that might just do a little bit more, make more of a bit of an impact? And I agree with that.
Yeah, definitely. I think there are. I think you kind of cut your losses on some of these guys, but I think the people that you bring back for sure, you bring back Pat Ricard, you bring back Stout. I think they should bring back Gilman. I think he did
Yeah.
fantastic, and I think you bring him back. Draymond Jones, I like Draymond Jones, but I think that's just kind of me thing. I don't necessarily know that they need to bring him back, but
No,
I think there could be some cheaper options, and I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. It's gonna look a whole lot different. I remember we were in a much better position this time last year with the guys that we had, and everyone was kind of dreading this year and kind of hoping that they'd get to the Super Bowl because of the
Mhm.
team situation. So, it is going to be a big saying goodbye to a lot of guys who've made impacts for us over the years. So, but
Yeah, definitely.
next man up, gotta just keep getting on and finding a new team that kind of can support Lamar on his next chapter.
I mean, it's a brand new coaching staff, and there was always going to be like an overhaul for the roster and everything. That's how regime changes work. But obviously, you want to keep the core of your team intact. So a
Yeah.
lot of those players, you're going to keep on the roster, and we don't know how Jesse Minter is going to work with DaCosta to evaluate the roster that they currently have and who they're going to want to bring back. But one of the biggest things that they have already done, besides bringing in the brand new coaching staff, is they've
Hmm.
made a really big change in the health and performance department. So 2025, as everybody knows, was a really, really tough year for the Ravens for injuries. Lamar
Yeah.
Jackson was hurt. Teddy Buchanan tore his ACL. There's so many injuries on both sides of the ball that just really, really impacted and derailed the season. So instead of going, oh, okay, well, it is what it is, it's football, the Ravens have hired a pretty kind of out there new executive. It is Dr.
Hmm.
Nick Gill, who has been hired as a brand new VP of Health and Performance. His brand new role for him created, by the way. He comes from a rugby team.
Yeah,
He
he
comes
does.
from the New Zealand All Blacks rugby team. They won the World Cup in 2011 and 2015, and they've maintained a .800 winning percentage. That's pretty good, you know.
Yeah.
And he is coming over. He's going to be lead integrated efforts across strength and conditioning, medical, nutrition, and sports science teams to optimize player health and performance. Honestly, when I see teams do this, I always like laugh a little bit because it's like nerdy to a a certain degree. But at the same time, I love when teams do this because it's like they're
Yeah.
really addressing an issue, and that was a major issue. Like especially with Lamar Jackson, you cannot have Lamar Jackson missing that many games.
No. And you see what it does. Some teams can kind of float by a little bit but it really impacts it. It changes everything because you can't there's no one to slot in for Lamar. Tyler Huntley does a wonderful job. I think he's one of the best like backup. Well, I think he is the best backup for Lamar. I don't think there's any other guy who can really do that job. But he's not Lamar Jackson, and he
Yeah.
can't. And you can see, and it's not just this season. There was a couple seasons ago where Lamar was kind of on and off, and there are a few other guys that went down. It's something that they've been addressing throughout the years. I think it's something that I think last year, 2 seasons ago, maybe they got rid of their strength and conditioning guy, and then they saw like a complete. We had the great 2024 season,
Hmm.
so I like when they see something not working and they're like, we can't have that. These are our guys and these are the guys we have to protect. So I like it. I saw his like little goodbye to the All Blacks. They were all very, sad to see him go, and that's always a good sign when fans
Hmm.
are sad to see someone go. So I like it.
Yeah, I think it's an out of the box hire, but I think it's also smart because sometimes you need that outside perspective. And it's not like rugby is that much different than American football anyway.
No,
They're very similar in how they treat players, and rugby players are insanely crazy and tough. So, I mean, if he's keeping those guys on the field healthy, like good, do that.
they
Same
ain't
thing
got
for
no
the
pads
Ravens.
out there.
Yeah, exactly. And they're running into each other and the scrum and all that. It's wild. Like
Yeah, they're
I've
not
been
as
slowly
big
getting
as American football players, but
no, but they're
little
still
different.
they're like little Wolverines. They're just going at
Yeah.
it's crazy. But the point being, like the Ravens made a big change. Whether that came down from Bisciotti or it came from Jesse Minter, whoever it came from,
Hmm.
they were like, "Look, we got to address this. I think it's very smart, and you just got to protect. You got to protect your starters. And obviously, injuries are a part of football. They're going to happen no matter what. But the way in which the Ravens were hurt in 2025, you can't repeat that again.
No, it's not worth it. And especially, and I think Eric DaCosta feels his job on the line. He's like, I'm next. If John's gone, he made it very clear that his head is next on the chopping block if it doesn't
Yeah.
work out for him. So I'm glad that he's taking it seriously. And I also love that he's from New Zealand. I like when international voices come into it. We saw obviously the British defensive coordinator for the Seahawks. So sometimes those guys come in, they see things a little bit differently. They've lived
Hmm.
life differently. They've been around different sports. They see things that can fit in here that just amplify and build things up. So, yeah, no, I'm excited to see it. And hopefully, injury-free year. I would
Yeah.
like one, knock on wood, after last season,
Yeah. I mean,
or
again,
as little injuries as possible.
yeah, again, you gotta look at the second and third tier players, the people that got to step up first and foremost, build those trenches. As cliche as it is to say in American football, that is what it is. Build those trenches and make sure that this new strength and conditioning coach or performance and whatever health VP
Everything.
can everything, yeah, everything under the sun when it comes to protecting player health really gets things going because you gotta stay healthy through 17 weeks. Well, 19 including
Yeah,
preseason. So, this it matters a great deal. And yeah, we'll see what happens with that, but I think it's a good hire.
I like it. And if they can keep Lamar Jackson on the field for a full season. I like that. I think, he's only ever really had maybe 1 or 2 seasons before this where he was cut, but it completely throws our game plan out the window. You got to really just rethink everything. It's not like No, I'm not going to put any other quarterbacks down. I was going to say it's not like
It's
so and so going out and it's a little
no,
different.
it's true though. It's really true. Like if Lamar Jackson goes down, everything goes down
Forget
with
it.
him. That's just the
Yeah.
way it is. I mean, we exactly what happened in 2025. And that's not to say Tyler Huntley didn't do a good job in relief. He did, but I mean, like he's not Lamar
Yeah, once he got
Jackson.
on the field after Cooper Rush got his butt off the field.
Yeah, that was bad. Yeah, it is like, oh God. So,
For weeks, I was like, just put Huntley out there. And then he come in that one game and just got it done. I was like, I've been telling you guys if you just listen to me.
all right. Well, we will be back next week. Next week is going to be quite crazy. March 9th, tampering begins. March 11th, the league year starts. Free agency is going to go wild. The Ravens have so much to do right now.
Will Tyler
Mainly,
Linderbaum be a Raven?
will Tyler Linderbaum still be a Raven? Will Lamar Jackson get his extension? It could happen today. Hopefully, it happens today because that kind of frees up a lot of cap space for all the other
Hmm.
moves to happen. But we will be back next week to talk all about that. Yeah.